It's still bad PR though.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's almost like saying, "Hey, you can't have your Fortnite account."
And then you got it. It's all covered.
That's my
Before
favorite
you
way
do
to drink
your
a beverage.
divergent psychopathness that I know you just randomly go into, do we want to do any type of order to this?
You're supposed to be curating the news order, my
Why
friend.
does that make him a psychopath?
I mean,
Because he has no rhyme or reason. He will just...
Hello and welcome to Strange Conversations, where each and every week we gather together.
You set yourself up for that.
I did.
Talk about our news topics for the week, as well as points of discussion we find to be important. On my far left is
Dylan Sinat.
on my right,
John Pettit.
and on my other left.
Oh, I'm last this time. Hi, I'm Mark Clover.
No rhyme or reason.
No Brent Metcalf.
I think it's the first time.
Oh,
I've
and
said
I'm
it.
Brent Metcalf. Sorry.
He's a selfless man.
He is. There's a lot of stuff that goes on out there throughout the week. A lot of noise. But this is the important Ding, ding. One of the biggest things that we've seen in the past week has been Sony deciding not to help out Fortnite. If you have a console out there and you are trying to play Fortnite on Nintendo Switch, but you created the console or have purchases made on the PlayStation, you can't.
Here's the worst part, is that there is a section in like the Epic account that you could go and deactivate devices that you have turned on your Fortnite account onto. If you deactivate your PlayStation account, you still can't play on the Switch or Xbox.
Because it has been there and or made purchases.
That is dirty.
Yeah.
It is.
And you know what? There's been a lot of things that have happened dirty-wise with PlayStation, but this is bad.
This one's really bad.
It's almost like you're in the lead. And
Yeah.
all you have to do is not botch it.
Yeah, all you have to do is not piss on the people that are giving you money.
Yep.
The best thing I've heard is that this makes them look scared.
Yep.
Like, this tremendously makes them look like they're terrified of Switch.
Yep.
It's like the same stupid crap that Nintendo pulls with their online videos. They're like,
Yeah.
oh no, we're going to take this. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You guys are making multi-bajillions of dollars with this console and games and you're going to be petty about it?
Big number, you should look it up.
Yeah.
Multi-bajillion. Speaking of being petty and also making terrible decisions, Call of Duty, which they said they're going to give as much free DLC as they possibly can. However, it is now out that in their pre-order bonuses, there are now Battle Passes. You seemingly can't buy the Battle Pass separately, or maybe you can, they won't say, which is also kind of suspect. But the Battle Pass is going to include 12 multiplayer maps. It's going to include one Blackout character, and then the Zombie Season Pass as well. But they still say they're going to give you free stuff. They also said they're going to do public events. They're going to do the ability to play the DLC maps for free at certain times.
I think my favorite part about that whole announcement is we're going to give away all the free content that we can, as if Activision doesn't have so much
They're going to
money.
they said they're going to give out more free content than they've ever given. I'm like, what have you done before? One map? That's it, right?
Yeah.
It's not a very high bar.
I mean, how's the community reacting? I can't...
Tilted.
I can imagine.
Because it's like everyone's going free, and then they decided not to, and then they seemingly, at the first announcement, were like, we're going to give you more free stuff than ever. Here are the pre-order bonuses. People are like, why does that say season pass, huh?
Nobody realized that bar for free stuff wasn't very high to begin with.
Yeah.
The other weird part about it is you can't buy the season pass separately, it seems, or they won't confirm that you can.
Yeah, I've seen this too.
You also can't buy any of the DLC standalone. So if you just want the zombies, can't get it. You just want one Call of Duty map pack, can't get it.
They've made it worse.
Yeah.
They made it worse than the original
Basically
format.
an all or nothing.
Good lord.
Wow. Good for them.
Weird, at least.
I can't wait for them to learn that lesson.
I don't even know if it's too late to fix it. That's the worst part. That's just
Nothing is beyond it. They
Yeah,
better do it
they,
now.
They
before
could
tomorrow.
wait to the day before launch and go, by the way, you can buy the DLC separate. And everyone's like, cool, here's my
Even
pre-order
if they
day
changed it
before.
now, they got PR issues.
It's almost like Xbox did this with the launch of a console. We saw that pan out. So on to a little bit happier news. We had Westworld announce their game finally. It's coming to mobile on June 21st.
It's coming quickly, yeah.
Yeah, that's like a week, right?
I still have
That's
to
next
catch
week.
up.
Yeah, I think we're like 4 episodes behind.
Thursday, baby.
I meant to talk to you about this beforehand, but does anybody else find it weird that they're putting out this like Cartoon Network style drawing mobile game?
No.
No?
I don't think it's weird. What will be weird is if this in no way has like Easter eggs or stuff that connects to the show.
Yes.
So
That's what I'm thinking.
I can totally see this because Fallout Shelter is like a similar cartoon spin-off of a fairly serious source material game. I could easily see them hiding like encryption stuff, secret logins, all this stuff they have on their webpage already. there are Easter eggs galore there. So having more of that there where fans can tear it apart over the summer while we wait for the next season, I think is the perfect play.
I'll be so disappointed if it's some stupid little money grab game.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be surprised because corporations do dumb things all the time, but they're very Kojima-like to me.
Yeah.
And I very much want to see what this is going to lead to. I'm like, there's no way they're not doing this, and they're not doing something cool with it.
I really hope so. I really, really hope so.
It's interesting they choose to go to mobile for their gaming.
Everybody's got it.
That's a very interesting call, isn't it?
We know why.
Money.
Low barrier of entry.
Yes.
Yeah. Also,
Also, say anybody that likes the show
Yeah.
has a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, Fallout just got me again. It's the anniversary set.
I thought about putting that on my Switch, and I was like,
You should. It's a good time sink.
Well,
It's good.
might-
It's
I
the
might.
phone just a little bit more entertaining for it.
makes sense.
But something officially launched finally that's been out for a ton of time. YouTube Red and YouTube Music and all of this have combined into one conjuncture. It is now YouTube Premium.
YouTube Premium. Well, actually, it's two different tiers. Well, I don't remember what the beginning one was now. It's YouTube. YouTube Music. So YouTube Music gives you a sort of a Spotify-like platform because Spotify's actually started to throw in music videos now. Like if you see them in some of their featured playlists anyway, like they actually it's not music videos, they're like special videos anyway.
Yeah.
That like the
They'll show
artists
music
record.
videos as well.
Yeah, but
It'll just be the wrong orientation, but whatever.
Yeah.
it's portrait. Like they're holding a phone, recording themselves all the way through this music video. Yeah, I mean, The Weeknd did one actually. It was actually kind of cool looking.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But
Check it out, then.
YouTube Music anyway does music videos and music and all that stuff, just like the other stuff. You can do playlists and whatnot, and they use their deep learning algorithms and their search engine to better help you find things than like Spotify or I think iTunes was the other comparison ever could. Now YouTube Music is $9.99 a month and only gives you access to music ad free. They do have a free tier as well that you play music with ads just like Spotify and them. Now Premium on the other hand allows you to play YouTube videos in the back. It basically gives you YouTube Red-esque functionality. And,
It gives you straight YouTube Red as well.
right, basically. I mean, you get access to YouTube Originals. Actually, they're not using YouTube Red anywhere else on the platform anymore. They're renaming it, even though it's the same product.
Yep.
Everything else. It seems pretty cool. I mean, I'd like to see what they do with it. I'd like to see if it actually grows well enough to take over what YouTube Music used to be. Or, I'm sorry, Google Music used to be, and then kind of grow to Spotify's level. Because actually, I kind of like what Google had at some place and some of the other features they had.
So it's like the rebranding is there. Do you think
It's like
part of something
rebranding
bigger?
and combining and
Basically. I have a quick tangent here.
Okay.
It may take a minute. So I've been using Amazon Music for a long time because I'm a Prime member.
anarchist is what you are. Okay,
Yeah.
continue.
Yep. keep going.
Continue to do that. I hate streaming music.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to stream music. I want to download it to my phone and have access there. So for a long time I was using Amazon Music. Everything's fine, hunky-dory. I go recently to go look at some albums from Incubus, and all of them are blocked with the exception of one because they've all moved to their streaming service, Amazon, whatever.
Unlimited.
Yeah. And that was the straw broke the camel's back. This happened with 3 separate albums now. And finally I was like, I'm done. Kick it. I deleted it off my phone, went over to the Play Store, Play Music, and I was like, oh, I'll just play my music through here. This is perfect. Oh, that's right. I can install podcasts on here. Found all my podcasts. Super excited. You know what functionality they don't have for podcasts?
Offline.
The ability to make a playlist.
Ah.
So I can't download my podcast episodes and put them into a list in which I would listen to them. I have to go into the individual podcasts and then hit play. And then when that's done, I have to delete it and then go out and then go to the next pod. Yeah, I was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world.
crazy to
and
me-
the
wow.
easiest fix.
Yeah, what's crazy to me is of all of these services, none of them are the best. Like I use
No.
one app for podcasts, and I use Spotify for almost everything else, but then I still have to have a separate podcast app
Yep.
specifically for podcasts.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
It's god awful.
It's funny. I listen to music completely differently now than I used to. Like beforehand, it was like we used to burn CDs of
Yeah.
all our favorite music, right? And then it was always on our computer. Then it was on our Apple iTunes or whatever. And now we're streaming everything, so that way we don't take up our phone, so we can take pictures now. But when I use Amazon, I just use it to listen to new types of music now. I find different things, so it doesn't bother me as much.
Spotify Radio.
Yeah, basically.
Spotify
done.
Radio.
Yeah.
Or their entire browse section, basically, their
Yeah.
daily
Yeah, but
mixes
it's
for
free
you.
with Amazon Prime, and it doesn't hurt me at all.
Yeah.
Spotify-
Like,
Spotify
The, pro-
free.
the
You
problem with
just-
Spotify, though, is that their mobile app is garbage unless you pay for it.
I haven't used it without paying for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what every person who uses Spotify says. I can attest to it right now. It is garbage.
That's also because most of us don't really care about spending the $10 a month.
Correct. You know, I spend my money elsewhere.
But see, you and Bree could go in together and get a fan.
No, I don't want Spotify. I don't want to stream my music.
You could use
Let
it
me
while
be an
playing-
old man.
You could use it while playing video games on the PlayStation.
I don't want to do that.
Get
Why
with
not?
the times.
Because I listen to the music on the freaking
And we
PlayStation.
play COD 3. You can sit there and stream it and be really annoying on.
That sounds wonderful. I digress. Back to the
COD 3?
news.
How old are you?
Wait. We have a saying for this. Segways are fun.
Segways
They
are
are. And in other news, we had AMD taking shots at Intel
Whew.
with the Threadripper trade-ins.
Whew.
Okay, so Intel did a giveaway for the i7 8086Ks. They gave them away like 50 or 100, however many there were. AMD reached out, I guess, to like the general public anyway, and to some of the individual winners of the Intel giveaway and said, trade in your 8080K and we'll give you a Threadripper 4 for free.
Wow.
Shots fired.
That's like a price was it's almost a double.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because the 8080K was listed at like, I think it was like almost like $150, $200 or something like that, and the Threadripper 4 is worth $350 plus.
Besides all the numbers that you're spitting out at me that I'm not going to understand.
I'm talking price. Dollars.
I think it's just the animalistic behavior of finding the winners of contestants and being like, I'm going to take away that piece of garbage openly and then replace it with something that we want you to have.
The worst part for me is it's basically like taking no offense to anyone who owns this vehicle, like taking a crappy Chevy Bolt and Tesla being like, here's a P100D.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
It's pretty much how it is.
Well,
Yeah.
so to be fair, the 8080K was like Intel's like starter flagship because it's a single core 5 gigahertz base clock like chip. It's really got a lot of single core performance to it.
I can see the butterflies leaving.
I'm trying really hard, okay?
The Threadripper though actually has a very decent amount of performance anyway. But it's multiple cores. At like 3.5 gigahertz. It's not that far off, but it's easily a much more expensive chip.
Yeah. I think what's funny is that I feel like they're chasing the Savage Wendy's Twitter account kind of thing.
Yeah.
My favorite.
It totally is, but at the same time, like, as much as I want to believe in AMD, like, Intel just dominates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I hope you could compete, but like, you're kind of far back there.
Different point. Maybe I'll get to that next week or something like that. But AMD's got or AMD's looking up for the next gen.
Yeah.
Please keep me posted.
They're like Xbox.
Well, AMD's all still everything console.
Well, this is also
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're kind of talking about. What was supposed to go in the Xbox that you were talking about? That was too
AMD's
expensive?
No, AMD's all consoles.
All
Actually, the big one was that Intel lost the contract with Apple.
Oh, okay.
For these guys right here.
Yeah, because they started putting their own chips on.
Because, Apple has to make everything themselves. But Apple's biggest competitor, Google, on the other hand, they're implementing a whole bunch of new features. Because Segways are still
Segways
fun.
are still fun. Which
They're-
is great because it has absolutely nothing to do with processors.
Can we
But
track
it
a
does.
Billy bobblehead?
It's right here. It's it needs to be an RC car that drives around and comes back. And then just sits right here.
All right, so for you Android guys, particularly people who want to save money on their data, or have a very restricted data plan, Google released an app called Datally.
Is it Datally or Data Ally?
I don't
I like
know.
that one more.
It's spelled Datally.
Yeah.
Datally.
I don't know how you-
Data Ally sounds right.
I don't know. But
Datally sounds right too.
in essence, what it gives you is the ability to say how much data you have available for the month, and then ration yourself into how much daily usage you want to limit your phone to, and it will actually put your phone on and off into turning off the data for data streams anyway, your LTE or whatever, your background data and all that stuff, to I guess give you the ability to control how much data you use on a daily basis, so you spread it out evenly over the month. Instead of you going one day and go, haha, I'm going to watch videos, I'm going to do all this, I'm going to do all that, and then by the end of that day you're out of data for the month.
That's what's right. It's cool for parents to put with kids' phones too.
Yeah,
but-
they're
So
super bad about it.
Google has gone one step farther always with Android phones of showing you or allowing you to automatically connect to Wi-Fi hotspots. They actually now will show them on a map. So you can find coffee shops who have open, secure Wi-Fi hotspots that are approved by Google and that kind of thing. And you can go wherever you need to be able to look for them. But it also gives you the metrics and things like that to show you how you're managing your data.
Cool.
That's really cool.
More usefulness there is.
The future.
Speaking of the future, 2 years in, and you still couldn't trade Pokemon?
But alas, that wait is over. Almost. So Niantic actually dropped a bombshell this morning that they're going to bring trading to Pokemon Go in the most Pokemon Go way possible. They're adding they're adding friends list. So you'll use friend codes. Yay, everyone who has had a Nintendo product knows friend codes and loves them very much. I don't think they're going to be that complicated because they literally use 3 like pictures to determine how to enter a raid, so I can't imagine friend codes would be that complicated. You then become friends, so John and I are now friends. You have a tier of friend that you have, and it's based on the amount of days in which you've known someone. So if you know them for 1 day, you're just base level, whatever. 15 days, 30 days, and then 90 days would be the best friend BFF. When you are within 100 meters of a friend, you can trade Pokemon, and this costs the in-game currency Stardust, which is used to power up Pokemon. So it's going to cost it, and that cost is dependent upon what tier friend you are. So if you come across a stranger and you want to trade right there, it's going to be more expensive than you hanging out with your group, which I found interesting because I feel like that's kind of antithetical to the whole point of this, where we meet strangers and have fun for a couple hours and leave. Also, they're introducing the ability for players to come across gifts. So you spin a Pokestop, you get items. One of those items can be a gift, and you can give it to someone. And that includes a bunch of items that will help them out.
Do they have to pay in Stardust for the gift?
So no, but it may contain certain things that they'll have to wait for. So like they're introducing another tier of egg, which you have to walk around for 7 kilometers, which is like the longest that you have.
I thought 10 kilometers was.
Pretty sure you're not wrong. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 7 kilometers is like right between.
70% of the largest one.
Yeah. So the 7K though comes with the specific Alolan Pokemon. This is the new Pokemon from Gen 7. What's interesting though is that there are bonuses to having friends. So if like you go into a raid with a friend, you get 3 times. If you're best friends, you get like 3 times the bonus modifier. So if you're in boosted weather along with a friend, like it's going to break how raids work right now. Because right now their uber tier players can beat powerful Pokemon with 3 or 4 of them. With this happening, they could probably beat it with 2 people, which is intriguing. I have no idea how they're going to balance this. It's just exciting to have the trading going on. I hope the cost isn't as high as they're talking, because they're talking about if you're with a stranger, it's going to cost 1 million Stardust.
Whoa.
To put it in perspective, I've never at one point in time ever held 1 million
That's
Stardust.
insanity.
Yeah.
That sounds like Nintendo has stranger danger.
Could you
Or not Nintendo. But
Niantic.
Yeah.
Could you not hold the Stardust because it was just too dusty? Or
Hey, it's so funny. No, it's because you use it to power up your Pokemon. So I'm at level 35, almost at 36. I want to increase the power that I have so I can take on more raids, so I can get more powerful Pokemon, and then it's easier for me to hold stuff down. The problem being is that 1 million is pretty outlandish. Even the lower tier where they're talking about if you're BFFs with someone, it's going to cost 40,000. You know, at the height of my, I'm not going to use Stardust, it was 500,000 is what I had.
I feel like the bestie thing should be based upon like continual interactions with
I
someone.
agree.
Yeah.
Which you have the means of track. Like, there's a lot here that they could unpack and fix. It reminds me of how the gym system was set up originally. They've completely revamped that. I imagine this is wave 1 of probably 2 or 3 iterations in which they'll fix it. But
by the 4th one would be under. So.
With the Stardust thing, is that like in stone or is that just rumors?
so they showed pictures, and that's what we've seen so far. I'm wondering if they're waiting to hear, because that's arguably I would wager a variable test you could change fairly quickly to see. But they said it's coming out before GoFest, which is July 13th. So it's coming rather quickly.
GoFest going to be as terrible as the previous one?
They're trying really hard to not make it that way.
I wonder if they think that if you hang out with the same people all the time or for so many days, that gets you to play it more often and therefore more viable to spend more money.
I think they're aiming at people like myself, my fiance, and other players that we play with, where we do go out. Like, today's a great example. I got to work, was at lunch. People were like, hey, we're going to do a raid. And I met the same, 10 people that I've now become acquainted with in Uptown to raid.
I just want to point this out. This man has platinum more games than me this year, and he still does all this.
Correct.
I don't know where the time goes.
That's why I'm so tired all the time.
God.
So, what is really interesting is to see how fans actually react to this, especially with GoFest coming around. There's going to be a lot of people who make friendships. I don't really know how you can not become a best friend with everyone you meet, because eventually you will be friends for 90 days unless you actively delete them, and you can hold up to 200 friends. So it seems like a weird system they're putting in place, but regardless,
You should have daily friends.
trading.
The Stardust thing seems weird. Like, are they going to introduce the evolution with trading?
Probably. It'll probably just be whatever.
Yeah.
But moving on, the next thing that we wanted to talk about is Telltale Games' former CEO is now actively suing Telltale Games.
Yeah, Kent Bruner is suing them, stating that they owe him money for his time there. He was let go. Telltale's had a weird year because they let go of a fourth of their staff at one point in time. They reshuffled a bunch of projects so they can focus on games. They came out this E3 very quietly. Unless you really paid attention, you would never know that the newest Walking Dead season was there. But what they showed looks promising. They're actually getting back to a more gameplay route, less narrative driven only. Obviously, there's still a heavy story, but there's actual gameplay mechanics there. But this is just another kind of stick in their craw, I guess. Right in the middle of them really kind of amping up, getting ready to release The Walking Dead, which is their coup de grace. It's their big franchise. Coup de grace. It's what they make all of their money and fame and fortune on. And this guy seems to be kind of want to swoop in right at this moment. Whether or not it's true, it's kind of hard to tell. There was allegations of harassment at the studio as well before the shakeup, so very well could be the case, but we won't know until it goes further.
Yep. So the next topic that we had.
This one's weird, and I wanted to talk about it because it's weird.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think it is a unique one, and to my best knowledge, it is the author of The Man Who Killed Don Quixote finished his book, but it's not entitled to the finished product.
So it's a movie. So it's a movie based off the book, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. It is Terry Gilliam, who is really well known for like some Monty Python stuff. He filmed the entire movie with Adam Driver, who plays Kylo Ren. Went out of his way. It was in production hell for years, where it just went up and down, off and on. They finally completed it. They showed it at the Cannes Film Festival this year, and then the production company sues and says that he filmed the entire thing without their permission and that he has no right to it, and the courts ruled in the production company's favor.
Don Quixote is one of those things that's been around for long enough where it doesn't have a trade.
Don Quixote is. The Man Who Killed Don Quixote is a separate book.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry.
So it's such a, I wanted to talk about it simply because it's such a, traumatizing thing to put your heart and soul to something and have it ripped out from you. So hopefully they're going to work out some deal where he's able to at least release the content. He may not get any money for it, but this has been a passion project of his for a very long time.
I would destroy that immediately in public.
No, I would just play it and just be like, you're not going to make money.
So we'll see.
Put it out in public for free. I mean, what are they going to do?
Can't make money off of it. Didn't say I couldn't do it as an art thing.
Exactly.
Didn't say I couldn't take donations.
I'm selling paper towels, and you get a free movie watch.
Support me on Patreon, please. Speaking of people who don't need to support anyone on Patreon, Disney is reevaluating their bid currently.
Yeah, Comcast. Comcast put up a $65 billion bid to Fox to buy. So now they've got either up the ante, they're able to buy it for $65 million. Is what it said. So I'll be interested to see if that actually goes through or if they let Comcast have it.
Yeah.
See, I would assume
that's massive though. It's Disney, and this is also Deadpool, by the way.
Yep. Well, I think the Deadpool part's not the part they want.
Really?
Hulu, Disney owns 25% of Hulu. Fox owns 35% of Hulu.
That's
so
what they
buy
want.
it, they'll get majority.
Oh, that makes sense.
That's what they want.
And that's who they want to partner for their media thing. Apparently, the ESPN test is partnered with Hulu services, but it's also with Disney stuff. Yeah. I assume they just want the majority of Hulu and be like, you're doing our services.
I mean, that's the rumor that's been on there for a while because they'd rather not build from the ground up, and they're reportedly moving all their stuff off Netflix. They're moving. Fox did the same thing. Fox actually made the 35% purchase so they could use their majority stake to host Hulu, all their stuff on Hulu. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Comcast probably feels safe, especially after the sale of Time Warner Cable.
Yeah.
But speaking of really smart moves by some online services, Netflix decided to take on Lucifer away from Fox because they were going to cancel it. Yep. Which I wish they did with Firefly. That would have been great. Missed opportunity, just saying. I actually watched Lucifer. It was a fun little show, but I wish they would do that more often for certain things because I think that a lot of shows have potential, but big contracts or not contracts, but big companies like MSNBC and Fox, they tend to just drop in massive loads and for no really any really good reason. They still have good shows or still could make good content. They just aren't making the
we saw this, especially in the recent history with Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a couple others as well. It just seems like if they're scared of something, even back in the day, South Park got canned for a while and Family Guy's been canned for a while. And Futurama, it's not that the show's popularity necessarily digresses. It's more of we don't want to deal with this. Maybe it's edgy or whatever, especially.
Or they don't want to deal with the people making it.
Yeah. Well, and I think the Netflix is, of all the streaming services out there, or all the people who can save these shows, Netflix has been the most forthcoming when it comes to picking up a show. They pick up Arrested Development, we see Lucifer now. Other obscure ones that we probably don't watch, but Longmire was a show on TBS for a long time they picked up, so...
They also brought back, Gilmore Girls?
Fuller House.
Fuller House.
Girl Meets World. They're really good about taking basically pinpointing what people are talking about
They
today. And,
Yep.
and Lucifer, despite what you think about the show, has a very rabid fan base.
Yeah, I mean that's what really brought him back, and that's what made Netflix want to do. Is that people were on social media just freaking pounding, and they were like, "Well, okay, if we can get even a handful of more people signing back up just for this show alone, that'd be great."
Now, see, I wonder if it's not because maybe some of these TV production companies are more disconnected than Netflix might be from their users.
I think that's
Well, I think
probably
they're
a large
also
portion.
slower as well. Like, I think it's a big thing. Like, Netflix, like, if they want to make a show, like, how long is the turnaround of the Marvel shows they have? The Adam Sandler movies felt like they were like 6 months.
I mean,
Granted, those weren't the greatest, but
they release them once a year, but I imagine the turnaround's far less than that.
Well, Netflix said they want to stop doing. They want to do less original content too, because they're starting to pull back on it a little bit more. They just released a bunch of it, but they said they were pulling back.
They wanted to do less acquisitions, more original content. Which
I
is,
thought it was the other way around.
they didn't want to do licensed original content.
Yeah.
Because, like, all the Marvel stuff is licensed, and if Disney yanks that,
exactly.
you lose all the Marvel license.
They want their own stuff like Stranger Things and Altered Carbon.
Yeah.
So
Well, I heard it was getting too expensive, and they were starting to regret that decision.
They're-
I don't know where I read that. Don't
They're
quote me.
spending a ton of money.
yeah,
But as long as their value is spiking so heavily right now. As long as they stay successful, they're fine. But the second they regress, the cash flow lowers, then they're gonna be in a real bad spot.
it's a
Yeah.
paper boat where
Yeah.
the second it catches on fire, it's up in flames because you can't pull in water to pull it out because then you sink the ship,
Yeah.
and then the ship catches on fire. Like they're a
What a
very,
beautiful analogy.
very careful balance.
Yeah.
So
So the last bit of news that we had today, I think, is actually from today, legitimately. Very interesting piece where the World Health Organization is now going to be recognizing excessive gaming as a disorder.
Yeah, gaming disorder.
Wow.
It's basically based on three qualifications. One, that it affects the person negatively. They continue to do it knowing that it's causing it and having a negative side effect. And that it's perpetuating something negative and they just don't care. So I can't remember exactly what the wording was.
It's seeming to me like a weird way to force gaming into depression.
Yes, or into OCD or something along those lines. I think it's a little rushed, and there's apparently a lot of science behind it saying this isn't right, and we feel like you're trying to push this, and I don't know where it's coming from, but it does seem a little political, especially in the gauging time now where you have...
The article about Fortnite saying that it's causing mass violence in children.
Yeah, and you got the whole thing with Trump and people meeting up with him and saying, oh, this is the reason why there are mass shootings, this is why there's school shootings, and it just seems a little political to me.
I agree with that, and then I think you've also taken into account, we hear stories all the time, some true, some fake, about people who go to gaming cafes in Asia and they end up dying because they're doing 24-hour game sessions and all
I've
that.
done a 24-hour game session. All you gotta do is keep drinking Monster.
I know. Yeah, I agree. I think it seems a little misplaced at the moment. Like, let the research get us to the conclusion, whatever that may be.
Yeah, and I mean, I was reading about that, and there was actually some pushback. There was a bunch of gaming companies or corporations or entities that were saying, "Hey, this is crap." There's a bunch of science saying that this isn't true. You guys really need to look at this and not be too brash because you're going to label a lot of people that do not need to be labeled.
I definitely think it's very interesting because there's a couple gamers out there that one who's a member of Optic Gaming. His name's Maniac. He used to be a professional Halo player, and then now he creates content and whatnot. But for me, he seemingly has a highly addictive personality. So when he played Halo professionally, he would stay awake for 2 or 3 straight days playing video games. He
That's
then
intense.
quits playing Halo competitively, and he gets hardcore into music, and he would stay up for 2 or 3 days straight making music. So it's he doesn't have a gaming issue. He just might be a little crazy.
Yeah.
That's fine, but it's not a gaming problem.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody's got their own thresholds for things. Not everybody needs sleep, obviously.
My threshold.
But I think that that when it comes down to it, they're going to regret that decision. They're going to talk about it in 2019 to institute it for 2021 or 2022.
Yep.
But I do think it's a little brash.
Yep.
Making a cop out for parents.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And also making it really easy for laws to be made against it because, the WHO said that this exists. And it's
And if you're a professional gamer, though, if you can get diagnosed with this and then get Adderall or Ritalin, then
Or
in the zone.
Or the wacky tobacco.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ooh.
I have gaming disorder. I need weed. You
I
know
see
what?
the drug companies right now.
I think
going,
you guys are
"Ooh,
going to
yeah,
lose this one.
So all in all, this has been the important shit. As always, you'll find all the links to everything and then some of our comments and feedback down in the description below. And then we'll always talk about it afterwards if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns.
Send all hate mail to him.
Absolutely. And I think for the first actual topic of the day, we're going to do something a little different.
Yeah.
So we're going to clear the table real quick and then put things on the table.
Things on the table.
In the arms of the angel.
Oh, that's a little excessive.
Yeah, you almost
Yeah, I know, right?
So,
the recorder's there.
Yeah, good. That's where it needs to be.
this is actually fun.
This-
So over the weekend here in Charlotte was HeroCon, which is a big nerdy gaming convention.
Now they know where we're from.
Yeah.
Oh,
Please don't
wow.
stop us.
Did we say like Speedway at some
I
point?
don't know.
So they have these cool boxes which are all random and unique. They have them at a lot of conventions. So we decided to get 2 of them. A Ready Player One and then this is a video game one.
Yep.
Yep. So we're just gonna unbox it, see what's in it, and see how much we love and or hate it, and then hopefully throw something at Brent.
This box I'm hoping that the box isn't the best part of this,
Okay.
but I wasn't going to be disappointed because I had the box. This game is actually really special to us, Portal, because it was one of our favorite co-op games of all time
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
this
is.
day. So I was actually going to say I wanted you to
Oh, I can do the honors?
Yes, this is
Ooh.
our game.
Yeah.
I got one for Bree. I want to get one for you too.
Aww.
Now, granted, if there's something really cool in there, we're going to have to discuss
Fight over
it.
it. I actually like the way this box is put together.
Yeah, I was about to say, be very careful because I want to keep the box. Don't be going crazy.
So don't rip it.
So I think
Well, I mean, you can as long as we keep the top part fine. I don't care.
this is why none of us are managers at IKEA.
Alright. Oh, wow.
So the first thing seemingly is a massive Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct Shadow Jago.
No, no,
That's
I
pretty dope.
used to play that game, but I never
That's
played
really
with Shadow Jagger. That's kind of cool.
I'm going to slowly pull stuff out of here.
There you go.
Who is this guy? I feel like I should know him. Oh, he's from Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
That's from the movie.
From the movie.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
Ojeda.
Wow.
Funko Pop. These are everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the convention we saw what?
I'm glad
10
we got an
million
Assassin's Creed one. That's cool. It's one of my favorite games.
What is
Scale Tail? Oh, it's I can't remember his name from Undertale.
There you go.
His name is, I believe. No, I'm not going to try and guess his name. We can look his name up later.
Is
Skeleton.
it Scale Tail?
No, it's not Scale Tail. People are probably yelling at the comments right now, but that's actually really cool. I like that one a lot.
There you go.
My
Oh god.
I'm taking
Oh god, I think I know what Brent's gonna get.
It is a Pokemon Cup.
There you go,
With all the
buddy. PPA
starters.
free just for you.
That actually looks like.
It's got a light.
Oh,
yeah, look at that.
man.
Oh, dang.
That is,
Yeah, I'm totally taking that to work just
Yeah,
so I can
I
annoy
figured as
everyone.
much.
This actually has a lot more than I anticipated.
It really does. Oh, it's a zapper. Little pin.
Zapper.
It's a zapper.
Oh yeah, that is cool. That is old like.
I'm gonna have someone eventually zoom
for
in
duck
on this
hunt.
thing, so hopefully you can see audience.
Yeah, in a perfect world, there's gonna
That's
be
a duck
B-roll
hunt
for all
zapper,
of these things.
Oh yeah.
Perfect world. So
That'd
is
look
that
great on a backpack or something.
a keyblade?
It's just a key.
Oh,
It's a
Oh,
night.
that would be
Oh,
cool
it's
to see.
it's a night key.
night key.
Is that from Ready Player One? I feel like that should be.
No.
Nope. Okay, I'm with you 100%. Street Fighter.
Something.
Hello Kitty.
Again, they're being
That's
gender
awesome.
neutral with everything.
Wow.
Or at least evening it out.
This is Streets of Rage little lanyard. I actually like that.
There you go, buddy.
It's small. It goes around your
Streets
wrist.
of Rage. What is Streets of Rage?
Oh wow, stretches.
Oh, it's, oh, okay.
What did that mean?
Streets of Rage is an old Nintendo game.
Is it a
It's
rip-off
before
of
your
Street
time. No, it's not a rip-off Street Fighter.
This actually has an exclusive in-game unlockable for Killer Instinct.
We may be giving that away then.
Yeah, about to
since
say.
none of us have Killer Instinct. It's just a little foam chest.
That's honest.
I love
That's
it.
honestly awesome. Does it open?
No, it doesn't.
That'd be
I wish
awesome
it
if
would.
it did open.
That would be the best. I don't think it's a
It
dog
could be
toy. I mean, it
called a
can
dog
be
toy.
a dog toy.
It'll be
Pretty quickly. This one is glass, and that's for John because it is an Assassin's Creed glass.
That's so cool.
There's actually a ton of stuff in this.
There's massive amount of
how
stuff in
many
this.
there's.
I literally thought the box was going to be the best part of this.
It's a Master Sword cork.
That's awesome.
Awesome! Well, guess what? That'll go on the port bottle. I'm sure.
The
Master
Then
Cork.
we have some socks
That
that are Fallout Boy,
Fallout
Fallout
socks.
4,
Amazing.
Hit Boy socks.
Who's the biggest
And then
Fallout
just a
4
discount.
fan here? I think it's you, probably.
What? Probably.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
take
think
this.
that's an accomplishment.
I'm gonna move it over here. I'm gonna try and sit down.
That is
I'm not
number
breaking
one.
anything.
That's really
That's like
cool.
what? Like 10 items?
That is
Oh, at least.
12?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think it's 11.
That's actually
Close.
Really
Yeah.
That's actually a lot of awesome stuff. So we have one more. We have the Ready Player One, which I'm guessing is going to be a ton of 80s nostalgia.
I'm gonna leave that on there.
However, maybe it's not. The 80s are, like Brent's era because he's an old man.
Yeah. My era. Born in '89, my friend.
That's still your era. So Mark, you're going to be in a better viewing angle. I'm going to give you a sweet box, but if you want to stand up and
do the
thing. This is like the most adult kids meal ever.
Sans.
I feel more excited.
It does
than I did
remind me
for
of like a
Disney.
McDonald's kids meal.
This is Sans, or Sans, however you pronounce it.
Sans.
Yeah, all the characters are named after a
Ooh, a
font.
little Space Invader.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Seems like this is.
This is
some-
gonna have to be something where I tear the box open.
No, you don't.
What is this?
You
What
could
is
be
it?
fine.
Space Invaders. You
Yeah,
go ahead and do
yeah,
next
it's
thing.
a
I'll
loot.
open that.
All right, that works. Let's look at that. What do we got here?
Those stickers.
That
Ready
looks
Player
like
One decals.
There you go.
Is it like a magnet or a sticker? It might be
See,
magnet.
it's a thing of stickers. Like it shows it on the back of a laptop or something like that, so it's got these stickers. But they're actually kind of like they're real dense.
Might be multiple sheets.
Yeah, but they still feel pretty dense though. Like
You've got like 3 or 4 sheets of stickers in
I
there.
legit feel like this is Christmas.
Space Invaders.
You have a little Space Invader. I don't know what these are called. Little alien ships.
Oh yeah, it's from Space Invaders.
I don't know if there's a specific name for that.
Aliens.
Aliens.
Do they verse predators at all?
I actually like this. This
Yeah.
is like a cool little paperweight.
Yeah.
I wish it was like
It's gonna be one
film
for you,
or something.
though.
That would be
Oh, it's
cool.
actually a substantial weight.
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
From the
So what I'm learning out of this is we're slowly collecting our replacement mugs.
Exactly.
That's always
That's-
sponsorship.
that's
and,
I'm about to say I've got my Assassin's Creed mug. He's got Pokemon. Now we have Ready Player One.
Is that me? That's me.
Well, it's this great
How
music.
dare
in the
you
box.
in
It's
the
like the
middle of
Zelda.
it. What is
A
that?
little Joker.
that is a little Joker. Yeah,
That's amazing.
That is an awesome little Joker.
That's amazing.
That's
He's like a little
creepy
cute.
as hell looking.
Oh my God! It's the Jared Leto Joker. Don't let anyone get excited.
So as I promised,
All right. Hollywood horrors.
you want me to open that while you do something else?
That's probably a good idea because I feel like I'm
No, you got this.
Hey, look at that.
Is that a deck of cards?
I don't know. It's a
Something-
box.
Oh, it's a box with
It's
a
another
box.
box.
Better not be a freaking
It's a
finger.
finger.
It's a finger USB drive.
That would honestly be awesome.
I bet you would love that.
It is a key.
It is a
Somebody
hotel
else,
key.
somebody else is
Oh,
gonna
it
have
is 230, room 237. That is the movie name is room 237.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
from the
That's sketchy.
John Cusack? No.
No, that's
I'm lost on that.
401 or whatever. I
It's
don't
room
know.
411.
Blanca.
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 Street Fighter, nice.
Yeah, that's 80s.
See, now we don't have the rip-off Street Fighter that Brent's talking about.
Yeah.
We got the real one.
Well,
We
we
got
also
two
have
rip-off
Killer.
Street
I think he's talking about Killer Instinct.
We got 2 rip-off Street Fighters. We got the Street Fighter Hello
Oh,
Kitty.
yeah, dude.
So that was the 2 boxes. I think this box was, $25, and I think yours was $40.
I think it was 50.
50
actually.
bucks.
That's a
I
lot.
think in total I spent 90.
I mean, that makes sense. All
After
together.
taxes.
Got a lot of goodies.
Yeah.
We also got a free shirt out of this as well. The free shirt was a Battleborn shirt.
Nice.
So
Yeah, because that's really timely.
It was really odd. It seemed like this game was going to be popular. And it's not. Yeah, so with all of this, I guess we can leave stuff on there.
Yeah.
it works.
That's
There we
fine.
go. What do we want to go next?
I think what would probably be good would be to go to your topic, because I think it's going to lean a little bit of mine. I'm going to swap mine around, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
So now we're going in blind.
I like it.
So if his topic's going to go into your topic, my topic's going to go into his
All
topic.
right, well, let's start with yours.
Okay. So it seems that in the last week, it has been heavily hinted at from the Musk Master himself, Elon. Has
Does he call himself that?
he should call
During
it.
sex only.
Yeah. It seemingly suggested greatly that in August we will have full autonomy from Tesla vehicles.
Woo! Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
So it will no longer be the semi-autonomous modes. It will no longer be the put your hands on the wheel every 15 seconds. It will in fact be, I want to go to Target and I play on my phone until I get to Target.
So is he implying, like, they'll be available and you can actually do this, or they're just at that stage of development?
Well, see, he has claimed for a while that the development is done.
Okay.
That this is when it will be released.
Supposedly, if I remember hearing correctly, it was the bureaucratic stuff that was awful. Like the insurance was actually
Yeah.
the hard part.
Yeah,
Well, there's
absolutely.
a company that's already been successfully past all that, and they're in Arizona right now. It was
That's
like,
Waymo.
Waymo, yeah, that's one.
It's Google's Waymo.
And they're already ahead of the curve on
Well,
that.
to be fair though, Google's Waymo has like a much better tech in it than a lot of the technologies that have.
It's definitely very interesting. You also have the Jaguar's released its biggest competitor, which is the iPace, and they just did a cross Portugal and Spain and France tour of those things. It's like a 15-day road trip. Invited a whole bunch of people out there to do that, and that is actually who Waymo is now officially partnered with. They ordered 20,000 of these iPaces. That'll be what their fleet will be initially built off of when they're sold in public.
Well, they also have the Pacificas, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not going to be sold in public.
Okay.
The iPace will be the ones that they're trying to sell to the public. My thought here is, and my question to you all, which I know we normally ask questions and don't discuss much, I would still like to discuss. My question is, come August, if you had the means and it wasn't, if it replaced your car payment, it wasn't anything extra or whatever, how would you feel about not driving come August?
I would be a lot more efficient with my life. As a matter of fact, if you knew how much I drove,
I do know how much you drive.
that would be freaking amazing. I would literally have they have these carrying cases now where you put your PS4 and it has a built-in screen.
100%.
They're called GAN.
Bam! I would have
AMD
I would have power cords coming in from my battery from the car to charge that damn thing while I'm playing it all day.
I love that you're like, I've got this Switch at home and a Vita, both of which are very easy to carry.
The reason I'm saying is because I have games to play right now. Like I'm autonomous. I could obviously do a Switch and obviously do a PS Vita.
You'd be
But
autonomous.
you weren't expecting the PS4.
I was not expecting the PS4. I won't lie.
It's like a 7-Eleven. We're not always busy,
Wait,
but we're always open.
Where did that go?
That's good dog sense.
Okay. 100% yes. My car is not great. I don't hate my car. It's the Bat Spark. But
Bat Spark?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You got a Batman
Name it.
symbol to put over the spark.
Yeah.
That's great.
I got it right in the back. It's actually above it, so it literally is
that's
Batman
right,
single
you're
spark. But I would love the ability to not drive to work. Like I drive 10 minutes to the train so that I don't have to drive to work. If I could cut that 10 minutes out and park and have my vehicle so I can do stuff after work instead of having to hop in the train and get to my car. Yeah, 100%.
Would you, I guess, that's a weird thought, because my thought would actually be, I would have it drive me to work, and then just let my car go home instead of pay for parking, because the gas is way cheaper than my parking.
Oh,
gas.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd be like,
Yeah.
just drop me off at the curb because it's raining.
Not a bad idea.
Or
I'm
actually,
gonna walk
I would
in.
find a parking lot for it to go to that I
That's
would
free.
send it to that is
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
That's like right outside the city.
Yeah, you go to like the Target or whatever.
Or parking's going to become cheaper in
Yeah.
general because they're
Use
going to be
the
like,
Target, I need that.
they don't have to use our parking spots now. We want them to come to our parking spots so it's a quicker return.
And not only that, it'll have armor like the Batmobile from the 1989 movie, so I can just protect it. But
What happens in your life? Do these raids get violent?
You
you
can.
have no idea.
Yeah, it gets nuts.
No, yeah. I mean, being able to just read a book or sleep or play Switch or Vita on the way to work, yeah. Or on the long ass car ride to my father's house.
Or just doing a bunch of research for this podcast that we do.
Yeah.
Instead of the night before. Or the hour
The
before.
hour before.
Or as we're typing up the
There's
notes.
always news right before. You always got to check right before.
I want everyone to know that I have an alarm on my phone at 3 o'clock on Friday. Put in your topics.
In the morning, by the way.
Yep, 3 a.m. Friday morning. I miss that a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
Snoozes it like 5 times, but then he gets there. Yep.
Alright, I'm a bit more of a driver. I don't know if I'd want to do it. If I did, it would sit probably out front about as much as my car does right now.
Well,
How
so
do you feel about an autonomous motorcycle?
but,
No. No. The whole point of being on a motorcycle is I can twist the wrist and go and push it around the corners if I want to.
isn't the point though that
doing
it's
this?
optional? You
No.
don't have to drive it autonomously.
What's that?
You don't have to drive it autonomously, right? Yeah.
Good mode.
Okay, I mean, yeah, fine. On a car, yeah.
It's great to have the option.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, like for longer trips or something like that. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, kick my feet up on the dash anyway, and just whatever. I'm gonna sit back here and play games, or I'm gonna text my phone or whatever. But
As a real quick interjection, I'm sorry to cut off Mark. If you have supersonic hearing or listen to this with like Sennheiser headphones on, which are really nice headphones.
There's a dog right behind you.
These dogs, I want you to know, out of the 7 days a week, they bark maybe 10 times. Except for this hour and a half, they bark 100. It makes 0 sense. I have no idea why. So if I ever look ADD as crap, it is because I'm just like, why? Why is it always this specific day at this specific time?
he stares up at the ceiling and questions life because they're over there. For
Yes,
some reason.
100%. My thing on this whole autonomy piece is that, one, I hate driving with a passion. I either want to drive like an idiot, or I don't ever want to drive. Those are the two opposite ends of the spectrum.
Is it because you're trying to entertain yourself?
Yeah, I drive for like when I had a Challenger, like I would drive it to go very quick between stoplights, and it was just fun and torquey
I get
and
it.
exciting. I wouldn't mind doing like track stuff and all that stuff, and I wouldn't mind having the ability to drive. But like for work and all this crap, one, I am very curious as to how autonomous vehicles are gonna mess with my like minor car sickness, because it's gonna be instantly voided if I sit there and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do something else. Nope, I'm not.
Nope.
I was gonna say I can't read or like
Exactly.
do software development, anything like that when I'm in a car. My brain goes nuts.
I had divorced parents at the age of 2. One lived in Ohio, one lived in Charleston, South Carolina. So let me tell you, I learned how to do a lot of things in the car
Yeah.
fairly well.
You are very rapidly aging into your like adolescence boys when I'm learning.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh yeah, got a lot of time to reflect.
So yeah, that's interesting. August. All right. Well, I guess we'll come back and touch on the topic again. And touch.
I mean,
Was
for the
trying to
low
say
price,
touch and
Touch and
talk.
talk.
for the low price, which probably by then, I don't care what you say, Elon Musk, I adore you as a human. You're not gonna hit 5,000 units a week by then. I hope you do, but so most likely you're still not gonna be able to get a Model 3.
What's the price point?
Model 3 start at $34,000, and that's before the $7,000 tax credit.
That is not bad at all.
And that's the cheap model.
That's exceptionally attainable.
Unfortunately,
What's the
Dylan,
maintenance
would you
on
like to inform them on when they can actually receive their first Model 3 if they order right now?
2021?
I do have a pre-order that should be up soon. So, however,
Shameless plug.
yeah, it does. You can now pre-order all of them. You could initially only pre-order the higher spec one.
What's the delivery date on that?
It's not terrible. If you order it, it's about a month. They just
Model
don't.
3?
They just don't give you the sheet. I haven't got my sheet yet,
Oh.
and I ordered my sheet like 90 seconds after.
Yeah, I know, but the delivery date for your car is supposed to be like 2019, 2020, isn't it?
No, my delivery date was supposed to be Q2 this year.
Holy
It's probably gonna
smokes.
be Q3 this year though.
No, last time I looked anyway, it was like 2020.
No, if you-
2021 if you order right now.
Yeah, if you order right now. But that's what I'm saying. If Elon Musk's wonderful plan to get to 5,000 a week happens, then they will catch up.
What
Yeah.
worries me the most is other people's reaction to the car. Like when
To
I'm
be
driving
like,
and
okay.
someone else is being autonomous, and they just do things, and you're like, I know you had the room, but why?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of that. A lot
I'm
more of
gonna
that.
be more excited to see them playing Go Fish, and then I'm gonna ask them to go fish. That's all I want.
I'm actually more excited for autonomous vehicles as a motorcycle rider because statistically, autonomous vehicles are actually safer on the highway and on the roads than human beings are.
Yeah, they'll probably
And
stay in
they're-
the center of the
They're
lane.
much more easily predictable just because they're actually going to put a blinker on and change lanes or put a blinker on and turn. Unlike the human being who can't go hoop or hoop.
Yeah, I
Sometimes
get
they
it.
put that blinker on and turn right into a concrete barrier. That has happened.
Actually, that was one thing I was going to touch on. How are they going to handle that, especially with all the negative press that's been coming out about that?
I mean, just like Musk said, like there's been like I think 4 major accidents in the past like year.
3
How
or 4
many-
of them have been other user related, and the other one was because of the road.
Yeah, the same. That's happened twice.
Yeah,
now, but
that's
it's the same
twice now.
defect.
So,
However, it is. If you want to go by technicality, in my opinion, it is not the car's fault. It is the people who paint the road and have other lines that were there from the
Yeah.
previous road.
But the problem is the
Construction
state
state-
assumes no responsibility for the fact that the
Right.
roads are not.
If
up
you
to
go
par.
up north and you see the way those lines are painted, you still see the old lines, and that's going to
And
be
that's
an
what
issue.
has happened here.
I want to see an autonomous car navigate Boston.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
What else? That's the good thing, though.
It's
So,
suicide.
because what they've been doing for the
There are
past
no
like
lines.
5 years is just that they've been taking all the driver knowledge. So like because they know that 10,000 people are taking this path to take this exit to get to this destination, the car will just follow it.
Yeah, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I mean, as long as they're following another
Yeah.
car when it gets to the point of
No,
uncertainty.
I'm not saying another car. I'm saying that like because like right now, if I were to buy a Tesla and go to like my parents' house who live in nowhere, and there's probably never been a Tesla there before.
They live on a farm and they trim butter.
It's pretty close, yeah. But if I drive the Tesla through there, it won't let me do any autonomous driving whatsoever. The car will use me as the example to map out the roads. So once someone has taken a turn 5 times, then the autonomy can be engaged and it knows how to take the turn. So what I'm saying is, in Boston, if it's like the lines are messed up and the sensors can't read the lines, the car is still smart enough to know, like, hey, people who want to get to this exit take this path. There's
Okay.
probably a reason I can't read well. I'm following that.
So
path.
it takes other data, pulls it in, and fills in gaps.
Yeah.
I can't read good.
It's almost
Yeah.
like it's almost like the Muskmaster was intuitive about his programming.
It's almost like he has like a rocket scientist degree and like has launched crazy companies and stuff into space and
He's wasted a lot of money into space.
yes.
All I know is that I'm kind of with you. I do want to get 2 of us in the back of these vehicles and play Go Fish from the top of the vehicle just to feel like we're being driven around by a chauffeur.
You gotta buy.
Pokemon Go can actually change their specs now. They can follow you and everything. It's like, oh, I'm in an autonomous vehicle now.
God, that would be so amazing. I can
Wouldn't
spin
it?
all the Pokestops all day long. I'll just lie.
You're just going through there, it's like,
If you're driving past a certain speed, it's about 20 to 25 miles an hour, you can't spin
shuts it off.
anything.
Yeah.
It shows a flasher like, hey, you're driving too fast, but it legit won't let you do anything.
What's
So
connected to Wi-Fi?
even it doesn't matter. Like if you are moving at that
That's a
speed,
good
it
point.
prevents you. So I would 100% love to lie in my normal car and say that.
You just gotta set the speed to 24 miles an hour for the money here. Final question here is: if hypothetical world you get a Tesla, you swap your car currently for a Tesla, same thing with yada yada yada. But the Tesla has to be themed. What do you theme and name your Tesla?
Ooh. Cortana.
What does it look like? Is it
All
just-
gray.
It's all gray. That's it.
Yeah, I might put a purple streak in there somewhere.
Okay.
Call me Ash. Paint a bunch of Pokemon on there because I gotta catch them all.
You can do like bush scenes and the Pokemon.
You're not putting Pokemon on your
I'll
car?
put Pokemon on there. You know why? Because with that vehicle, free parking anywhere I want. It's like, oh yeah, we want that Pokemon car right in front of our restaurant. Man, we want that
Oh,
Pokemon
no.
car. I'm telling you,
He's getting free meals out of this.
it's a genius play.
This is why, if you are an employer and you want a programmer with a marketing expertise, that's your guy.
You want to get really super technical? Advertisement's going to get seriously competitive here soon.
Yeah.
I mean, literally. I mean, they
Instead
pay
of playing
people
Go
now
Fish-
to put graphics on their car. Now, while you're at work, your car is going to make you
Oh,
money.
100%. There was this dumb, okay, one, if you're a person who is the age of 12 to 16, this is the worst idea ever going to exist.
Disclaimer over.
Yeah, so when I was that age, what I thought would be hilarious, because, you know, you're a normal 16-year-old dude who wants to try to talk to every female in the world you can. I had these LED scroll things as apps on my phone, and then I would just type in my number and like little funny messages on Windows and just to anybody I saw that was attractive.
That's
It
fantastic.
honestly had a at least success rate.
Yeah.
Was it high? Yeah, that's subjective. What's your definition of high?
Mine was a whiteboard.
Yeah, see, this is
They just put up the whiteboard.
well, no, so imagine your Tesla has like a panel on the side, and you can just type in a message.
Yeah.
Mark,
I
what
want
is,
to put one in the back so I can be like, fuck you.
what is the theming of your?
I was trying, to be honest, I was trying to come up with something that was going to be like electric related because it's an electric car, that kind of thing, and be, you know, that typical Tesla owner. But the only thing that
Pikachu. The Flash.
no, I thought about that. No, the only thing that kept getting stuck in my head was the word Taserface for some reason. I couldn't get past Taserface. I was like, can I do anything with that? No.
Yes.
No, I gotta stick with my.
Now I
my
have Disney getting mad at you.
I gotta stick with that strange gaming, and I gotta stick with that, like, my favorite color scheme of green and purple. And I mean, like, I'm not talking like major green and purple, because, you know, like, I want to keep it, you know, a little bit subtle, you know, that kind of thing. So you're talking like maybe like purple brake calipers and do like a flat lime green color, kind of like my bike does.
You guys are the most plain, maybe not Brent, at least.
Brent's a little extra.
Why is your immediate thought not to have the name of the car be Alfred or any type of famous butler?
Please
Or my much better idea is paint the thing neon yellow and put Crazy Taxi on the side of it.
That'd be wonderful.
Okay.
Wow.
That's fine, but if you're trying to pick up women, that might not work out well. They
No,
might actually
no,
call
no.
the police on you.
You'll get the right women. That's the
Yeah.
thing. You get the right women.
It's not about a big net. It's about a very precise lure for one specific
Specific fish.
person that you don't kidnap.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
that's pretty
it.
much it. The
I
Coming
want you
in
to talk
August.
to me like a Cortana, though.
that'd be weird. Or Alfred, Alfred before, or Jarvis. All of these are
Jarvis,
out.
yes.
That's weird.
Dylan, underneath my shirt is the key to my release.
Jesus.
Wow.
Sometimes, if you think this is painful, imagine how our lives are. But coming in August, don't freak out when you see people not driving cars. And
People are going to freak out.
if
Yeah.
you have a Crazy Taxi
Yeah,
themed
but
car
we're
and it's a
50.
Tesla, I am entitled to ride in it.
Please send
Entitled.
us a DM, because or private message, because
Yes.
you know, he wants to.
Yeah.
He
Here's
wants to
my
learn.
question: like, are they going to become taxi services now? It's like,
That's-
hey, anybody want to run?
Well, their end goal is ride sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want you to buy spend like $1,000 a year and you have access to a car whenever you want.
I'm okay with
Beautiful.
that. Yeah, I'm
And
totally
then
okay with
upgrade them whenever.
And you don't have to deal with maintenance.
that. Yeah.
Bullshit. everything is super efficient.
If it's anything like a Lime Scooters uptown, which if you work for Lime Scooter or if you work for Bird or any of the other scooters in Charlotte, let me know. I'll do anything to promote your product. It's just like 100 degrees outside and they're great.
Not only that, but it really makes our city mad. It just really gets my fire going.
All right,
That's all I had.
well, you were talking about, that deep learning stuff and about, like memorizing
How
roads.
on.
It's interesting. What do they use to learn that stuff? Like, how does the computer know how to do it?
I think they would use like some type of machine learning AI algorithm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Artificial intelligence, that's really becoming core, in a lot of the stuff that we see, and some neat gimmicks sometimes, like seeing a robot face, talk to you, but
Like Cortana.
exactly. So artificial intelligence is something that's been in gaming for a long time, and what spawned this topic actually is NVIDIA had released something new where they were interpolating frames perfectly to take a 30 frame per second video anyway and turn it into 240.
Interpolation.
It's a fun word.
It is.
Anyway.
It's our word of the day. Thanks for coming to Strange Gaming.
No, so I wanted to think, I was thinking about gaming as far as how AI's come, and is there anything you guys would like to see from AI? Like, would you like to see, obviously this is a broad topic because there's a lot of different angles you can kind of come at this.
Probably wouldn't claim that. Okay. I feel like AI is such a weird one because when you talk about gaming AI, there's a very specific type of AI that is utilized, and it's typically, quite honestly, not very efficient AI. And the reason why it's not efficient is because the player doesn't want them to be efficient.
But that's the question, I guess, is do we want it to be good AI, or do you want it to continue to be sort of the crappier...
Tastes like nickel. Interesting. Yeah, let's place a bunch of toys on the table. This is a great idea.
Yeah.
No, I get your question, and I think that the general consensus, despite what everyone's going to want to lean towards, is I think we still want crappy AI in games for that function. However, having better AI to help us, say, stream a game more efficiently, or to have our storage work properly so that way we don't have to have the whole game stored on there.
Right.
Like, there are ways in which AI can be incredibly useful to games on the back end that have nothing to do with the actual development of characters in game.
And that's why he's a programmer, because none of that stuff is what I would have thought about. I would have thought about like way more in my opinion, useful things. Like if I want, like for example, Call of Duty. If you play bots in Call of Duty, they only get so hard. They're never going to be good at it. They are currently never good enough to like beat competitive players. Like, sure, they may like auto aim on you and like it's seemingly cheat, but they're not like smart. They're not like intelligent.
Yeah.
It was a big deal when Call of Duty integrated the ability for bots to like have the wherewithal to be able to like drop shot or like try to jump and shoot things like that. Like that was like a big deal. So seeing AI that is like I guess more learning and adaptive and like I guess interesting because it would be very cool. Like not just games like Call of Duty, but other games like Rocket League and League of Legends and Dota, if you could have AI systems built out to watch, like, from a competitive standpoint, like, hey, watch this pro team, and as an AI, like, I want to play like I'm playing against them. How is it to play against FaZe? How is it to play against Ops, whatever? Like, that to me is, like, super fascinating, because it could, like, you could basically build your counter, like, what beats me, what can I beat?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the points actually you were talking about is, I guess, adaptive AI. So, Gran Turismo was one of the ones actually that kind of popped in my head because you were talking about, you showed me how, I guess, if you get aggressive with the drivers actually get aggressive back with you.
Yep.
Like, they'll start braking earlier, that kind of thing, make you run into them. Certain things like that that'll kind of push back. And I guess, do you want that extra level of realism, or do you kind of want to... I mean, I guess, like, it depends on the application, If you're playing something like Grand Theft Auto...
That's gonna be kind of cool.
Do you really want the AI to learn and then be able to I guess maybe one or two guys that learn who you are, find you, and hunt you down. And
So you go from Westworld Season 1 to Westworld Season 2 really quickly.
Or like the Nemesis system.
Yeah.
That can get really annoying really fast.
I think there's a careful balance in here, and that balance typically leads to preventing that AI from being efficient. Like, there's always going to be a degree in which we're getting closer and closer, but there's a very fine line, and I think the great games out there today find that line. Okay. Like, The Last of Us 2 is a demo we were all watching for E3. Looks phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
The tweaks that they're putting in there make that game look amazing. But I, as a programmer, as someone who has some technical knowledge, know very well that the way those characters run though from a code base may look clean, they're very much inefficient on how they're trying to find the player to give the player a chance.
Right.
I want that because I'm not very good at games. So I want to make sure that I'm not getting slaughtered. You brought up a point I never would have thought of is competitive, in which that is a very specific niche use, but one that would probably become very useful.
Absolutely.
I don't think it would come. Well, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I'm not sure if it would come out in like a release. Like I can't imagine Call of Duty be like, here's our competitive scene. But if you were to enlist in, you're part of this competition this year, we give you the tools. We give you access to those tools.
Interesting.
I really just want to see it increase the how the games become more quality based, so that way they could still make these games at a lower production cost, but still at the same quality that they're currently giving or better.
Well, I mean, I think not to just glorify the Westworld reference, but one, like, imagine a GTA where, like, everyone in the game is an AI that, like, isn't an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I know Star Citizen has alluded to they want to do something similar to this. If the game ever comes out, please come out. I have too much money in it.
Please.
But within Star Citizen, they essentially want to have like the AI to have like jobs and whatnot that like the people will replace. But with that being said, they don't want it to be evident. Like if I get into a dogfight with a bounty hunter, they don't want me to necessarily know it's an AI bounty hunter or a person bounty hunter. So it's like their world will feel like there's millions of people in there, and there could be 10, or there could be 1,000, or there could be 10,000. But like it's gonna feel like a million because like you're like that's something a player would do. Like that's like that's some smart tech.
Yeah.
That's one instance that I think also would be really cool. And then the last one would be procedural generation.
Yeah.
Because as cool as procedural generation is currently, it's still like it gets redundant quick. And it's like even when Destiny tried to implement like the little level thing, which is like one of the newest, coolest concepts I'd seen, it was still like you get a really good idea of what your options are quick.
Well, not only that, but like it might get too difficult really quick, and how do you tone it down?
Well, and I think I was going to say, like, the good procedurally generated games are that. They are procedurally generated games. They're not anything else. Spelunky's a great example. Spelunky builds itself off of templates that are put in play. And those templates are very fine-tuned and changed over time. I don't disagree. I think a strong AI can take those templates and even tweak it past what the creator had in mind. Right. And that'd be a very interesting
Because what's interesting to me is, like, for example, games like Spelunky and whatnot, like, there are probably runs where it's almost impossible to win. And that's just the map was built and it's almost impossible to win.
Completely random, and there's no rhyme or reason to what boundaries to stay in.
And that should be something that, like, one, the AI now does because it doesn't know any better, or the procedural generation just randomly does it, and that's RNG just saying you're not going to win today. But if that was something with, like, a smart AI, you could be like, I want an average run. I want the impossible run. I want a run where there's one way to beat it, like, almost like Doctor Strange-esque, like this is the one path and it's like gotta be perfect type stuff. And I think that's something that could be like it would basically for gamers out there who don't pay attention or I guess aren't very like programmatically educated or inclined or whatever. For them, it's just another slider of the menu. It's like how hard do you want this game? And it's like I want this game very hard, a little hard. Whereas like for us, it's like that's some real stuff. Like, that's a lot.
I mean, not even a slider. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 5 has this excellent implementation of difficulty where as you take on missions and you start handling soldiers a specific way, they start putting up countermeasures. So if you're getting headshots, they start wearing helmets. If you're doing body shots, they start wearing body armor. And it continues to build and build and build until you start dying and then it backs off. And you can help alleviate these difficulty by taking missions to prevent them from getting it. But there's never a point in time where the game is like, you're in hard mode. Like, it's just a natural progression. And I think you're going to see that over, give me the difficulty slot I want. Which I think is interesting. And we could go anywhere with this. Like, the Nemesis system's a great example. I like, first of all, it's a complete WB. Batman game, Nemesis system. It's built for that. Like, I know they put it in Shadow of Mordor, and it's an excellent game. It was fantastic. Batman, Nemesis system.
What he means by that is Spider-Man Arkham Asylum coming out this fall.
With the Nemesis system.
Cool.
But that kind of implementation of AI, which is very rarely used for whatever ungodly reason, would be absolutely amazing. Having procedural generation on the scope of No Man's Sky, but on the level of care that Spelunky has, would be fantastic. I think there's many avenues, but I truly don't think... It probably happens simultaneously. I think the big parts that are really going to impact gamers are going to be the things that happen with AI outside of the actual individual games themselves. I do think how we interact with games and interfaces and how we're able to actually utilize that to cut out the middleman, so to speak, of load times, of latency, any way that can help.
Is it like fast game load? Or fast game boot?
Fast loader.
Fast loader.
Fast loader. Yeah. Microsoft, how dare you? I think those are going to have the larger impacts, and they're going to be the least recognized.
Yep. Okay. I definitely find it very interesting for me, just because there's so much stuff. Like, there's like the niche thing of like I would really love to have like competitive style training where it's like I said, like this specific team runs this specific play type, and they have these 3 dudes that run ARs and 1 guy that runs sub. I want to play against that.
Yep.
And just being able to say like, I mean, it's a super dream world, but like, you know, like in fighting games, you're like, I want to fight Conor McGregor, I want to fight Anderson Silva. Like, these dudes fight differently. For me to be able to be like, hey, this other gamer guy that you have all the data on, I want to play against somebody like him.
Yep. Yeah, and the more I think about it, the more I could easily see that being as a mode. Like, hey, pay $20, it's added on to the Call of Duty 2044.
At the beginning, you
of
can't
course.
Specific.
Yeah, and you can't purchase it any other way.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta purchase it before they even announce it.
Yeah, before they even. By the time you've gotten there, they're already sold out.
Yeah.
There's parts of me that believe we're going to be really enthused about certain parts of the end of this console generation and really disappointed.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a year away.
I know. Early year change.
Confirmation.
You weren't wrong. It's just you forgot the change part.
Yeah. Well, I think we can move on to my topic because it kind of leans into what you're saying, which involves game streaming services. At E3 this year, they tended to lean on this quite a bit. Microsoft talked about it. They also talked about their AI and how it's helping implement this. EA is talking about wanting to move their service over to a streaming full-on service, including a revamp of EA Origins that you guys love so much. The only person who didn't, like heavyweight, who didn't say anything about streaming whatsoever was actually Sony, which surprised me. But with the newer console generation coming up, and with this desire to kind of integrate everything as fast as possible, where do you see game streaming in the next console generation?
I see 2 paths. I see Xbox going that way because they think it's in-game.
Mm-hmm.
I see Sony probably thinking about it more of, we can win the next console and worry about it afterwards.
Okay.
That's my fear of what Sony's going to do.
Yeah.
I definitely think, I think it was the CEO of Ubisoft, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the one that
He's
said,
Guillermo.
yeah, I believe that he said that the next generation will be the last generation that it will be replaced by streaming. Something along those lines.
I don't disagree with that assessment, but I think he needs to add the caveat is the last generation we will recognize as like how we look at consoles today. Because I don't think a box like that's going out. I think that kind of hardware will just be cheaper. It will still be there. It's going to have no like disc loader. You're going to get rid of a couple of other accoutrements.
I mean, what's the point of a disc loader now when you put in the disc to install
The game, yeah, I know.
It's a little redundant.
Yeah, I agree. It's sad, but I'm afraid of what it leads to.
You're old.
Which is,
Well, I'm sorry. We talk about this all the time, so we already know.
Yeah.
But what it comes down to is like they control it. They control everything. You're not going to have a choice. You're not going to be able to share. You're not going to be able to resell. Even though they're talking about doing this stuff, all they have to do after they get 80-90% of people on it, turn it off.
Yeah.
It's done. You can't do anything about it. It's part of the user agreement you agreed to when you bought it.
Move to the UK?
Huh?
Move to the UK.
No thanks.
You have to allow you to sell discs.
Unless it's Ireland. I'll definitely move to Ireland. Don't even give me a plane ticket. I'll do it myself.
I mean, you're right, because any streaming service that we even take part in now, we were talking about Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. They own all that music. Even if you buy the album off of Google Play Music or iTunes or whatever, that's just your rental fee.
Yeah.
That rental fee is
strippable.
indefinite for the time being until they choose it not to be.
Yep.
And I feel like we do kind of lean on the apocalyptic, like, large corporation. And
All I know
on
is
this
Xbox
podcast,
One suffered tremendously for this exact reason. You get selfish and you get greedy that fast. That's what's going to happen. But they're trying to do this step game. And
So,
that's what it's been leading up to for the past 5 years.
I don't think the streaming is selfish inherently. I believe the reason why Microsoft wants to move this direction is because you have a client on a PC and you have a client on Xbox, whatever, and it's easy to integrate across the board. Right now, they're close enough because they share the exact same operating system.
Yep.
However, there's still tweaks and balances they make to one or the other because PCs have certain specs that the Xbox won't.
Yep.
Now you will have to worry about that even less especially if you can run it on your servers on the back end and have AI help you boost that streaming capability.
Yep.
Like there's so much they can do with that I think that's what they're going to lean on. They're going to hurt. For a little bit, they're going to hurt.
I think the Xbox One X is going to carry it through with the streaming box. There's going to be there's already been rumors about multiple boxes coming out. I think you're going to have your Xbox One X, and I think you're going to have your mainline like digital only system. But you're going to have people who just aren't comfortable with that, and they know that up front. So they're being smart about it. I think if they do it in that way, Sony's been awfully quiet, and that is telling.
My guy is trash.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So when's the
right
last
now-
time you used PlayStation Now?
2 years.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
So if you go back now, it's actually not bad. Like that's
Is it not bad or is it good?
No, it's actually you can play a game and not have to worry about.
See, my issue with that was like, let me download the fucking game.
I don't disagree.
Like I don't get it.
I don't either.
Oh, boy.
So I want to
There must be a
clarify here.
vulnerability we're not aware of.
So
No.
I want to clarify here
Just
with
find a
game
copy.
streaming services, because I've heard this put both ways, of going the old school GameFly route where it's literally you're playing on remote servers.
Yeah.
But it's streaming the video client and streaming the controls back and forth. But the other one is actually downloading the content local to your system to play
It
it.
would be caching, but yes.
Because the whole issue in the first place was streaming, or with the traditional streaming or true streaming, was that latency is awful.
Correct.
So I mean, that's the same problem across your home network. They're not actually going towards that avenue, are they?
We're not sure at the moment. That's the big question. Is what we're trying to.
There's
What we're trying to kind of
There's
hash
too
out.
many variables not to download.
I agree with that. I think the internet here in the United States specifically, but realistically, like around the world, it's just not. It's not stable enough.
I mean, unless they
It's not a
went
sustainable thing to do.
nerd out moment anyway for those of you guys who understand what content delivery networks are. If they went the Netflix route, where Netflix actually places Netflix server boxes and racks at your ISPs.
Mm-hmm.
The reason your Netflix streaming is always available as quickly as it is because they host a central server where their site is and all their main content is, but
That
it's
makes sense.
actually relatively small. But they use a content delivery network, which is a slew of boxes at your ISP. So you download it from your ISP, which is instantaneous. Is the way that works.
There's no way that Microsoft or
But that's
Sony
what I'm
are
saying.
gonna do
Like
that.
that's the only way that becomes feasible because
Yeah.
then your speeds actually hit like 4 milliseconds on a latency from you to your computer, which is or to your server, which is completely like irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the thing here is the games that they're promoting more of, like, with the exception of Sea of Thieves, pretty much everything that came out on Xbox, like, I wouldn't have an issue playing it on Game Pass because I'm going to play Gears campaign.
Yeah.
So I don't care if I have a quarter-second latency or whatever. Now, if I'm playing Sea of Thieves and I'm in a hardcore cannonball battle in an intimate moment with Brent,
I had an epiphany moment on how to say that.
so I do think it's interesting in that regard, but I do think it's going to depend heavily because, like, you're going to have the people like Brent. You're going to have so many people who aren't, or like John. I don't know what point it confused.
You and I are similar in these views. I know where you're going.
To where you want a disc. You
Yeah.
want the tried and true method. Like, you have kids who want to go to a store and buy a video game. You have adults who want to go to the store and buy video games. It's a very interesting wager, but with our generation being the generation of renting and leasing and not buying and not having hard assets, it does make a lot of sense. And then also, like we said, like Xbox Game Pass, for what it's worth, you get a lot of money out of it.
Yeah.
The question is third parties, though, because it's very easy for Xbox to say, hey, our game's on Game Pass, but EA's now going to have, or EA already has its EA access only on Xboxes. Next up, who's going to be next on the...
And that-
Naughty Dog's going to have a $5 a month pass for Naughty Dog games.
So Resident Evil key.
Oh, of course. That makes sense now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
I was sitting there, I was like, I think this opens something. This is metal. I want to find this thing that it opens.
I do think that if the rumors are true about Xbox releasing this family, I would not be surprised if one of them is like an Apple TV, in which it is
Yeah.
a hard
PlayStation
drive.
TV.
It's definitely not PlayStation TV.
I think if they're too brash with it, it will be a PlayStation TV.
But I think their goal is to get in on the ground floor as soon as possible. I don't necessarily think it's going to stream, but I do think it's going to be, hey, you can access the Game Pass on here, you can download, or giving you, at this point in time, it's got to be a terabyte hard drive. 500 is just not enough.
No.
Like,
I could see
If
it
you're going
small.
totally
I could see it
digital.
actually going as low as 128 or
do you think
256.
so?
If they really wanted to make a cheap box, I could see them going 128 or 256.
If they're doing
And-
streaming, not downloading, yeah.
No. But the idea would be you could do downloading, but it allows you to download like 2 or 3 games at a time. That's the idea.
2 or 3 games.
Okay.
Well, because we're talking about here
both.
the
I'm playing
next
5 right
generation,
now.
Right.
whereas
So
right
I
now
hope
the average AAA is 50 gigs.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, like
He's got
AAA's
a
that I
game
played on my desktop.
Final Fantasy is running almost 100 gigs right now.
That's a lot of DLC too, and
Yeah,
that game is bloatware. Like the way they designed that game is terrible.
Wow.
See, I would actually wager that I think you're both.
That was a sorry. I want to apologize. That was a really hasty comment. I'm not quite sure how you guys put together that. It just seems like a lot of storage to take up. I wanted to clarify that.
I think that you're both incorrect. I think it is going to be dramatically small hard drive. I think it is going to be straight streaming. I don't think there's going to be download.
I said
okay.
if it's streaming, that makes sense.
I mean, like
I
it,
did them too.
cashing a single game or something like that, or like even
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
would make
every
sense.
game is the issue. I think it's going to be big enough to download Netflix, big enough to download YouTube.
All right, fine. So you have the
50,
streaming
20
software. What are you going to
What's
charge?
the-
128 gigs.
What's the average size
Maybe.
of something like an Apple TV or Amazon Fire?
New? I mean, first off, they have like no storage on them
Yeah.
because the entire purpose is that the RAM that's on them is what's used to cache a streaming movie. You know. that kind of thing.
Okay.
So actually, realistically, that could work
There
too
is
if they wanted to
storage,
do
though.
something like
That's
that.
probably
because
like
if you're
64 or 128.
It's like
maybe.
8
in
gigs.
storage, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
and
and it's like maybe 2 to 4 gigs of RAM on
You
them.
know it's going to be solid state.
I mean, that's pricey, but it's got to be.
Yeah.
That's probably being back too.
See that
But-
just totally negates the whole purpose though. Like
Why?
if the whole point of this streaming box, because I don't envision them making the streaming box as a premium item. The whole point would be we've got this premium console and you can get the same experience for less money off of this box.
Or you have a
Got it.
streaming console and one that is a download and
That's
streaming
why it's $100
console.
bucks.
That's what I'm talking about. Like the
I think you can get that for $100. Like I mean, even like the old set top. I say old, but they're not that old. But the old Android TV and the nicer, whatever Amazon Fire TV, the bigger box ones with the Ethernet connections and stuff. Those are going to be like $100.
so you say that all the processing then is done on the back end, and then you're just streaming straight to the box.
That's the
Streaming
idea,
straight to the box.
Yeah.
That sounds like there's going to be a shit.
Guys, we're thinking too big here though. The game stick, the Xbox stick.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Why?
Just boop, right in
Maybe
the back.
like a dongle. You
Yeah,
put it
basically
right back
like a
there.
Chromecast with a controller.
It literally just needs a Wi-Fi and then a Wi-Fi card and then
like,
If
because
your
it's- because if
system
it's-
isn't crap, then fine. But you're going to have that many people on there, you've got to have one.
Well, they've already.
hell of a system.
If any company could pull it off, it would be Microsoft because they already have those resources.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
I
a guy kind.
think that's probably
You're not
why Sony hasn't mentioned a word. They're like, we're going to stay away from this right
Well,
now.
see,
And
what's
I
weird, though,
agree
is-
with you. They're going to try to go out with another console for the PS5, and then they're going to head to streaming after they
Well, see,
lose
what's
that
weird
battle.
as well is, I mean, Sony already tried semi with the PlayStation TV. Like,
So
They
that's a
didn't
very
try at all.
different
They
approach.
pooped that
though,
out
yeah.
and was like, oh, I don't like the way that
Because
smells.
the PlayStation TV was a Vita without a screen, and
Right.
that was more along the lines to get on the
the
bandwagon
remote
of
played, yeah.
so it's a regular Vita.
Yeah.
Like there was no difference between the two. The whole point of the PlayStation TV was to create a micro console to compete with things like Ouya, to compete with Apple TV that was making this. They wanted a small, cheap device that grandmas would find on the shelf and buy for their grandkids.
What
Like,
if the real play here is going to be these are keep it in PlayStation's normal logic of these are an accessory to a console. It isn't standalone. It never is meant to be standalone.
that would make sense for PlayStation, and I could totally see that. For Microsoft, I think they're the ones that are trying to divide and conquer.
So how long until you see the death of the CD?
They did. I
Physical medium, and I
Yeah.
think next generation will be the last. I mean, I think again.
I mean, like when they stop putting games on it.
No, the next gen they're still going to have Blu-ray discs.
Oh, yeah.
They're still going to utilize them. I
people still buy PC games with a disc.
yeah.
Yep.
I don't think, but I do think the one after that where it is completely download and streaming, like, so arguably 8 to 10 years from
I
now.
wouldn't be surprised if we did see a Nintendo S replacement.
Hmm.
In terms of we see a switch from from Blu-rays to. I hope the next gen obviously goes with USB-C, but if they did some type of USB-C cartridge,
Yeah.
looks like a flash drive.
Yeah,
I could see that conversion, but I think you'll keep the physical medium.
yeah.
I just think it may be a USB-C because then you could put like PlayStation, you could put 4 ports on the front. You could honestly put 4 ports on the front, 4 in the back. That's your display out. That's your power, that's your power in. That's your game in.
Well, I still don't think they're going to get rid of the disc drive simply because people still use them as Blu-ray players.
Well, and don't forget, how much of the country is still without internet?
and that's
Decent
why
internet?
that's why
35%?
I think that this coming console for
Do
both
they have consoles?
Microsoft and Sony are going to still have that disc drive there.
Look at when PlayStation Home was out, you were seeing all the dots all throughout the country. There was no bare spot anywhere except for
No,
No, what I'm
that's
saying
not. I
is-
expect you to.
I mean, PlayStation is what, 75 million?
No, they're more than that now. They're close to
80.
They've got to be over 80 at this point.
So even if
They were at 79 million 2 weeks before E3.
If they're not at, yeah, I would say they're
if
probably
we just
solid.
be ambitious and say they're 100 by the end of the year, which I think is a little higher than
Yeah.
95 is probably a little hit.
So would it be ambitious to say
No,
they're 100,
Spider-Man.
It's gonna do a lot.
Spider-Man's totally going to sell consoles.
100 by the end of the
Well, you're
year,
talking going from regular to pro. Sorry.
100 by the end of the year, and 30% of the nation doesn't have good internet? There's 350 million people in the country. I feel like that the people who don't have good internet versus the people who don't have a PlayStation are probably the same audience.
It's still bad PR though.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's
a bad.
almost like saying, "Hey, you can't take your Fortnite account." I don't think
They've already wasted
Yeah.
their bad PR move for the generation. They gotta keep their.
Am I the only one that's actually scared of this? I mean, I know the PC master race is already used to this. That is their world.
I'm not scared in the same way that you are scared. I am sad because it is going to be the end of owning your game, to the degree in
Yeah.
which we own them now.
Hands, well, barely.
No, you
even
have a
even the
keychain brand.
no even no dude.
Flash drives.
Even the
I
discs
look at
that
it
you
better.
currently buy, those are still currently licenses. They're not actual. Even though they're the physical domain, they're pretty much the same as the digital. I understand that, but it's still. They can't go to your house and
And
take it
that
away from you.
you. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
you can
they-
go get another console, put it on there, and you're fine.
No, what they do is they just the Xbox with the DRM and the disc. The Xbox infrastructure is built out so that if you have a disc and it is tied to John Pettit and you put it in Brent Metcalf's Xbox, then it doesn't have to work. That's
Yeah.
how the Xbox One was built.
I know, and that's why. Oh, wait, what happened to Xbox?
I mean, it
Oh
was
yeah,
Xbox,
that's right.
it was
Everybody
definitely-
shit on them.
And now everybody's like, "That's a great
Rightfully
idea."
so.
So let me ask you this:
Yep.
How often do you watch a Blu-ray DVD?
I
Disc? I keep calling them Blu-ray DVDs.
always watch Blu-rays every day. Don't.
When's
at
the last
all.
time? Yeah. Does
Mainly-
that,
well,
does that
that-
bother you?
No. Never
Well,
did.
that's
But
not-
I also
that's
don't buy them to own it. I stream it off of Netflix. I don't care. It's watched.
So
and
why is that
known.
any different than a video game?
Because I'm actually paying full price for it as if I was buying it with
You
a
wouldn't be
disc.
paying full price. You'd be
Says who?
paying
It
$50
depends. If it's a
month for
streaming
PlayStation.
service, it depends on how much you use it.
Yeah.
So if I'm paying $60 a month, yeah, if I make it worth it, maybe. But no one's gonna play. Or it was supposed to be more than that, wasn't it?
No.
Weren't people speculating like $100 a month or something like that?
I would hope not, because no one's going to pay that.
No, I agree.
Not
But
the
imagine
selection,
how
no.
much money.
What, Game Pass, what, 10, 15 bucks?
$10.
Yeah, it was $10 a month.
Yeah.
That's how we played Gears of War 4. That was the revelation I had while we were sitting here.
You guys don't have an Xbox, do you?
No.
but Sean does.
Yeah.
Probably but I have one as well.
Are you using it?
No. It's a paperweight.
Could say someone at this table borrow it.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is even people who bought the Xbox are regretting it. Or just putting that out there.
No, I have a specific rule to myself of it. There's a specific Call of Duty console that is not fucking camouflage that looks like poop. I will buy it.
I believe he's referencing last year's Call of Duty console.
What the was that?
Did you just censor yourself?
Yes.
I do it all the time.
He's
I'm
been
not the
doing
only
it
one.
So to put an end cap on this, because we're starting to derail. I mean,
There is no derailing on
do,
this.
do we believe that we're going full bore streaming next gen? Is it going to be a mix?
Oh, I think with PlayStation it's going to be a catch-up mix. I think that they see it coming, but I don't think they're ready. And I see Xbox going full on into this, and if they do it right up front, they very well may take the lead in a very big way.
I think
I thought
PlayStation.
we were going in order.
Okay.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think PlayStation comes out swinging before the announcement. I think that the Gaikai, the PlayStation Now, is going to become part of a PlayStation Plus premium service, and you will be able to download that game, and the next console will be fully integrated.
Do they raise the price of PS Plus?
That's my idea for PlayStation. For Xbox, I think the idea of them doing two different set-top boxes, one stream only, one stream and disc, makes a lot of sense.
I see that happening, but I also see PS Plus moving up to like $120 a year minimum.
They're getting rid of 4 games by March of next year. I would not be surprised if they said, by the way, we're just giving you 2 Now games, or something like that.
Yeah, that's fair one.
I see it going a hybrid method. I see both physical and digital media obviously still kind of remaining around.
With both?
I don't see discs going though. I really like the flash drive idea because then you could even maintain, because if you have a flash drive anyway, then it doesn't matter how much storage you have on your device. Your game comes on top of this little thing, and you still don't have to worry about downloading the extra content. Better yet, if the flash drive's big enough and DLC becomes available, you can just download it straight to that little flash drive.
Yeah.
Then you can just swap them, insert them out. I think
You
that's
can
a great
also
idea.
take your save files to your buddies. Come on. Man.
To be fair, you could just store them on the cloud, but there's that.
What if your friend's got the bad internet with John's friends?
Actually, that's why I used to have like the little Xbox 360 memory cards. I could take my profile anywhere.
I didn't even know 360 on memory cards.
360. Well, I took off the hard drive.
The last memory card I had was a Dreamcast with the screen on it. The display could Digimon.
Yeah.
No, but I see the hybrid method. I definitely see a stream box coming. Just something lightweight, no disc. Maybe if the flash drive thing takes off, please. That actually sounds like a great idea if you want to keep physical media.
Royalties.
But it would accept that.
Yeah.
Yeah, hybrid.
Mine is, I think Xbox is going to bite the bullet in what I think they should have done for Scorpio, which is way better than X. Still.
I hope they name their next console Scorpio.
Why do you release an X and then release the special edition that is the Scorpio edition? Like,
Yeah.
you should have just not changed the name.
Yep.
Whatever. I think they're going to do what I thought they should have done for that, and I think they're just going to begin to build modular PCs for the masses. I think it's not going to be... I think it's going to be an entry-level PC.
That's
With a
interesting.
light version of Windows 10, it's not going to be full Windows 10
Yeah.
professional. I think it'll be a light version of the Windows OS. And it'll basically be a very light PC. You can only use the Windows App Store, which we already hate. If you pay for it, you get a full OS.
So you think they're going to scrap the Xbox ideology and just
I think
go
they're going to
straight
call it
Windows?
Xbox. They're not going to say it's a PC, and they're going to hardcore be like, this is an Xbox. But it's kind of like,
Have
that's
PC
running Windows.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Until
a PC.
somebody pulls it apart, hooks something up to it, and goes,
No,
"That's
no,
Windows." That's
No,
Windows.
they're going to
whatever."
be, I think they'll be like, this is an Xbox. You can pay extra and get like the full OS or whatever and like actually have Windows on it. And then I think what PlayStation is going to do is, I think they're playing good cop, bad cop, which is kind of what I wanted to wait and allude to. With this whole Fortnite thing, and I think they're going to continue riding this out for a little bit. But I think at the end of this generation, we're going to see them finally bite the bullet and just make an alliance with Steam for both VR integration and for console integration. So games will be just like how Xbox Game Pass is, because I don't think Sony can compete. So I think if they're smart, they'll take a partnership with Steam versus trying to rekindle Gaikai. I don't think they can do it.
Or buy Steam.
That's not possible. Gabe already said, I think somebody had mentioned Steam being bought, and Gabe was like, I don't know why I would sell this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
just
know
It
either.
doesn't make any sense.
He's riding that money train all the way up.
But I think that would be the better play because one, it appeases all your fans, you get the integration you want. Two, I think the VR phase is what Sony really wants. And I think if they go for a shared experience instead of this PlayStation VR versus PC VR, if they can capture that shared, then Sony, in their own minds, and I think in my mind, don't die.
Well, then, do you see Microsoft running interference?
Well, Microsoft's only working on the AR. I don't think they can do anything.
They
They're already running interference on themselves with the Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They announced publicly they have no intention of doing AR or VR on the next Xbox.
Yep. And then they also...
But that also means they don't want to put in support for it either, I'm sure.
Possibly an alliance maybe with Oculus or...
We thought that a while.
They won't
I mean,
partner.
they've been talking about that for a long
They
time.
won't
but
partner with Steam, though, is the issue.
No.
They won't even put their games on Steam.
Yeah, you have to go through the dumb Oculus store. I wanted to say that you are dreaming big, my friend. You are dreaming big. I guess we'll find out in 2 years when the next console generation
In
is launched.
2020.
Thank you all for joining us this week. Please like, share, subscribe. There's a little bell down there. Make sure you ding it. Leave a comment down below. If you like talking, ding the bell. We all switch places when I ring the bell.
What? Where did that come from?
Anyways,
If we're wrong, please correct us.
If anything wrong, leave it down below. You can find us all at various social media platforms. I'm on Twitter at Jesterhead0302.
Dylan's not. It's also at the front of the annotations.
I just want to go through it again.
At the freak at DA_FR33K.
Did you make a Twitter?
No, I didn't. That's why I send all my hate tweets to him.
If you
I'll know
have
about
the
it.
URL Handsome John, then give it to him. And if you don't take it.
Until next week, aim for the bushes.
Hey, for the bushes.